Hello and welcome to a Warped Ones podcast. Woo!
Yay!
3/4 of us here because 3/4 of us show commitment. The other one clearly
doesn't give a shit. He's off playing pool, isn't he? On one of the days that we were going to do recordings.
Yeah,
That's his commitment.
Yeah, no commitment from Lee. Ah, well, he is an Eldar player, so what can you expect?
Yeah, wafer. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So this is we're obviously online, so you can see all three of us on our screens, but we are doing a little podcast. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a little faction focus today.
Yes.
And we're going to focus on the little guys. It's going to be a faction focus on the Leagues of Votann, led by Adam, the dwarf of the group. He is quite short. He has got a beard. And he smells like he's been in a mine for a little while.
Yeah, if you're watching this on the YouTube one, he's got tiny little legs at the bottom of the screen. Just imagine two little tiny legs coming out of him there.
But just quickly, let's go through any big news from our hobbying this last, however long it's been since our last one.
I've done fuck all because I've been ill and had COVID, and the whole household has had it. So we've done nothing. No, fifth time.
Okay.
We just established earlier that I am COVID. I am patient zero. I'm just walking COVID.
Explains a lot.
Yeah. And that's why none of us want to go near him. Hence why we're all online today.
That is true.
I'll send you a computer virus. I'll email it to you. Can I email you COVID?
Okay, I think
I don't want to tell people.
Everything is possible nowadays, I think, is how it works. So you've been ill, but I've done hobbying. You've done hobbying.
What have you done, Simon?
So my hobbying.
I still did some purchasing. That counts, doesn't it? Purchasing's hobbying.
Yeah. Okay, what did you purchase, sir?
Yeah, dwarfs.
Okay, very nice. What is it? You
I got the new Ioneer Champion, the special edition one, and some new dwarf Terminators. The Hearthguard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hearthkin, Thunderkin, Brockir, something, I don't know.
No, it's the Terminators. So I can run 2 units.
Very nice.
Very nice.
So thank you, Votann expert who doesn't remember the name of.
I knew their name. I couldn't. It's half, isn't it? It's pronounced half.
Yeah.
That's actually the way you pronounce it. Half, not Earth.
Exactly.
Half.
Yeah. So my hobbying is that I've actually started work on the Grey Knights. So I've got quite a few. So I've actually made quite a few. Because basically when I had COVID. A long time ago now, but I went and bought a load of Grey Knights and just thought I'd do that as a COVID army just to sit and paint while I was in a room, and sort of made and did a few and then kind of left it. So I've built all the rest of my Grey Knights and started to put that together. Kit bashed a few different ones as well. The Grandmaster out of an old Inquisitor model, which is no longer used on the tabletop, which is cool. And so started to paint them up, and because they're an army I'm considering to use for a tournament coming up, and it should be quite interesting. But I'm just playing around with some
7 weeks away, that tournament.
Yeah, I'm playing around with lists at the moment.
We've done it before, but we give a big shout out to Bugle Bat Reps.
Great.
We're hosting it, so specifically Martin. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
We'll see you there. We'll probably see him before, actually. I'm trying to arrange a game with Martin. We're going to get him on the channel.
Yeah, sounds good, and vice versa.
And to look forward to.
Yeah. And a shout out to everybody, really. Everyone who's listening, and it's always good to chat. And
no, just Martin. We don't care about the other people.
Oh, yeah.
Shut up, Adam.
We apologise.
People we like.
We apologise. And to be honest,
they're all my fans anyway. They only watch this for me.
Any of you listening, we can get rid of Adam at any point and replace him with any of you lovely people. So just let us know.
You are replaceable. Never forget that. Is what Simon said.
That's very true. Very true.
Touch your nose. Is that what Simon says?
So, Sean, what about yours? Hobbying?
Not really. I played a couple of games, but not much. I've just bought some more Custodes, but only another box. And yeah, I've not really done a lot of hobbying, to be fair. It's just been.
We had a good game, didn't we, Sean?
Been trying out some different armies. Yeah, played the old Nurgle Demons a couple of times now.
That's when I got ill. I got ill after that.
Yeah, that's
yes. What happened when played? Yeah, I had a bit of experiment with the old Nurgle Demons. which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to playing a couple more games with those. It's definitely a tricky army to play, but most certainly enjoyable.
Yeah, so I lent Sean my army, and the first did you play it twice, didn't you, or did you play it once? You
I
played it
played
once.
them twice.
Okay.
Well, a game and a half because I played a game against Adam with them. Against his Votann, which we took, and then I played a very brief. We had a little
That's
thing with the.
because that's what I was thinking, because you played a list with Rotti and a Great Unclean One, and then Horticulous Slimax and that sort of stuff. But actually, then the second time you created a list where we added in Bellacore as a little bit of
Yes,
an
that's
extra.
right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, adding the call to that list and having a
They
bit.
are really cool looking models. Though in the Nurgle, I just love playing against them just for the aesthetics.
Yeah.
Rotigus, the Great Unclean One, and Horticulous, they're just amazing. They're really good sculpts.
Yeah.
They are.
I really enjoy playing against them. Yeah, really. I mean, they're shit on the tabletop, but they are really thematically gorgeous to look at. I think
they're very different, and
disgusting.
They're a different way of playing, and like I said, the issue is in the current thing is that they don't have shooting, and I do think that perhaps we played on our new terrain of game and that was okay, but I think there was lots of line of sight, and if you were playing on tournament terrain, then perhaps with a bit more line of sight blocking, then Nurgle would have a bit more of a
It was
absolutely it wasn't a competitive game, was it? It was just
all
for fun.
We
were
all
using
playing
some new terrain,
fun, and it was meant
to
be.
That's why we play anyway at Walk Ones, is for fun, isn't it? We don't really. I mean, I know we got this tournament coming up, but we don't really play for competitiveness.
Well, no. I mean,
it was good fun.
I'm playing Grey Knights. I'm not trying to be competitive. I'm just trying to have fun.
So that's the extent of my hobby, really. Not a lot, but just taking over, experimenting, and I'm the one of the three of us that's not playing in a tournament.
Unless someone drops out, you are on the reserve list.
Well, yes, so
Martin,
fingers
pick someone out. So Martin, feel free.
Yeah, someone drops out, then I can possibly jump in.
Slip of a tenner.
But if not, then I'm happy to be the test subject and play a load of different armies against these guys and make them get them as prepared as possible, so someone can come in second to last place instead of last place.
No, I want to come last. I want dice.
We're aiming for a clean sweep of the bottom three places. Is what we're aiming for.
Yeah,
it's a fight to see who can finish bottom.
Awesome.
Bottom.
I just forfeit each game. I turn up and say, right, that's it, you win. I just want me dice.
Yeah, so I do need to get some painting done just on the off chance and work out a list, but
Have you got much painting to do for Grey Knights, Simon?
Well, they're all grey at the moment, so just the Knights part to do.
Well, there you go. You don't need to.
Easy.
No, it's I've got a fair amount, but to be honest, they're not actually too over the top difficult if you want to just bash through them. So I just need to get the motivation to sit down and crack through. So I'm hoping this weekend to start doing a bulk bash, and then they should be all right. I think really part of the reason why I'm choosing them is because actually they're not going to be too much of a difficult one to do. Because I was considering Nurgle as well, because I've got a bit of that painted, and I've got some really nice models there and stuff. But
you have, and you've done some really good job on some of them. The Grey Demon is really good, and the Rotigus. Have you finished Rotigus?
No, I'm finishing it. I mean, they're like almost finished. I've got to base them, and there's just a few little bits left to do on them and stuff. But I really like them as well.
But what you have done, it looks really good. Yeah,
but I kind of fancy taking Grey Knights for their shenanigans and being silly and seeing what we can do and have a bit of fun. But so
what happens? What's happened to GSC? I haven't played them in 10th yet. They were my old nemesis from 8th edition against you.
They're coming. They will be coming out. I've got some lists to try, a couple of really left wing out there lists, including some Brood Brothers and all that sort of stuff. So I'm tinkering around, they'll be coming out on the channel soon. But do you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for the codex to see other detachment rules, because I do love playing GSC with more of a melee focus, and I just love that whole aberrance and the sort of the monsters developed in a test tube idea, which they come out of, and actually at the moment their detachment rule of sustained hits and no cover when they had come out of deep strike, everyone's just playing the same list of demolition charges and a lot of shooting, and it's not how I want to play GSC. So I'm I've got, like I said, lists to try which we're going to play on the channel soon, but not they were my favorite because of the shenanigans and movement and sort of.
Yeah, they were really cool. I was actually gutted for you when they took away the blip mechanic, because that was such a cool thematic mechanic, and it really reminded me of the old Space Hulk game, the original Space Hulk, because that's how when Gene Stealers used to come on the map on the original Space Hulk, it was blips.
Yeah,
you didn't know what was coming,
and all the shenanigans
or how many. I think each blip. That's right.
Yeah, and all the shenanigans.
And then they took it away.
Yeah, and all the shenanigans was mind games, and and so many times I fainted going one way and then could pull them to the left, or you know what I mean. You never knew what was going to happen, and so it was so much fun playing like that. And now, because of the mechanic of bringing them back, it kind of just it adds. The numbers in the army have got less, and I just find there's less shenanigans to play with, and they're a bit more straightforward, and so it's lost that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that the Codex brings back some of that in a detachment where I can be a bit more clever with it. So so like I said, if you're a GSC player and you like what's there, then good for you. But I preferred it harder with the shenanigans rather than more straightforward with this. But yeah, so that's why I'm going. I like the Grey Knights because they've got much more movement, shenanigans, and a lot more thinking. I do like a real thinking army to play, and that's what I want to do. But anyway. But yeah, so that's enough about me and the armies and stuff. So, but we are here for one thing in particular. We decided to start looking into some of our armies and getting the dirt and juices of these armies flowing. And we've decided
Juicy.
Adam gets to go first with his look at his beautiful little hairy dwarfy.
Look at his face. I love Votann. I really like the aesthetics, actually. I think they did a really good job of bringing him back, not as they were. So they were originally squats. Now they're Votann, which is the military wing. So the army on the table is the military side of it. It's not necessarily every dwarf that actually exists in the 40k universe, because you've got the Necromunda squats, which are kind of their own thing, but they are part of the Leagues of Votann in a roundabout way. It's a bit convoluted, but as all 40k lore is. But I think with the they did a really good job of fleshing them out. So I'm going to start with a little bit of the lore. In the beginning, once upon a time, there was a little dwarf. He wasn't a dwarf, he was a man.
And then there was a female dwarf, and they wow. No.
Boom chicka wow wow. In fact, no, they weren't dwarfs in the beginning. They were actually men and women. Not to be sexist.
Well, no, that's
I'd be accused of being a misogynist again. So
carry on. Stop laughing.
They went off from planet Earth in their little boat across the sea of stars, looking for precious mining ores, and they flew by the skin of their beard. Simon's losing the will to live.
I thought it was some sort of bedtime story. It was beautiful. Well played, sir.
It was, wasn't it?
It was. Very nice. Keep going. It's fine. Don't let me.
So in the beginning, the Leagues of Votann, off they went.
Oh, we've already heard that bit.
Well, you've made me lose my train of thought now. How long have we got? How long is this episode? An hour?
Wow.
So off they went as humans to the galactic core in search of precious minerals, because it was mineral rich. But along the way, they decided to become clones, and they genetically engineered themselves to be dwarfs because they were more stout and more resilient to the high gravity in the galactic core. Fuck's sake, Simon. Here we go again.
It's too easy to make Adam laugh during this.
I wasn't laughing. It was Simon's face. He's doing this again.
Then it just makes you laugh.
It's like Jack and Nori. It's so beautiful.
If this is still in the podcast, it hasn't gone well.
It's not very well. So galactic core, you were saying. Galactic core.
Yes, and off they went. Along, they actually had ST. I mean, it's all the dwarfs don't actually know the truth, because the truth is hidden deep within the STCs, which is called the Votann ancestor cores. They don't actually know they're STCs. When they genetically engineered them, they caught a bunch of STCs.
Fuck's sake.
Oh dear. They should be more careful.
Well, that's why they're little, you see.
That's why they're angry all the time. Itches.
That's right, yeah. So off they went to the Galactic Core. They built these STCs and Votanns, and then they become engineered. And it's almost like a kind of like the Eldar, you know, where they go into the Soul Circuit, or what is it called, the circuit? Because when they die, they absorb all their memories back into the Votann. They create a new clone, and then it has sort of amalgamated personality. So I think they've done a really good job of fleshing them out. They're typical dwarfs. They just care about greed and gems and mining, hoarding resources and wealth. They're known for their resilience. I think that plays out quite well on the battlefield. They're known for grudges. That plays out quite well on the tabletop as well.
Mental.
They are quite mental, yes.
Judgmental.
No, mental.
Well, that too.
Mentally judgmental.
Mentally mental.
They also, one of the things that they did actually, what I found was interesting, when they bioengineered themselves, I guess it was over a long length of time, it didn't just happen overnight. They made it so that their souls are quite dim in the warp. So they don't shine that, although they can be corrupted by chaos, they're less likely to. They're not quite on the same level as like the blanks and pariahs that you find in you know, the humans. But they have dim, so they shine very almost like a candle instead of a bright bulb.
Yeah, so
in the warp.
so
So
sort of
they're less likely to be. Yeah,
they're not.
Yeah, so they're psychers. They actually. No, that's right. So the psychers aren't like the human psychers. They tend to just skim the warp. They have these special suits, almost like a suit that allows them to interact with the warp. But only the Grimneers can do it because they're engineered to use these suits. So a normal dwarf couldn't step into this suit and suddenly have psychic powers. It had to be engineered that way, and it gives them kind of like a facsimile of warp powers. So they are psychers, but they're not psychers. Again, having dim souls. But what the Grimneers are actually the specialty is for interacting with the ancestor core, the Votann. So I think it all plays out quite well on the tabletop. I'm a big fan of them. The aesthetics, they've kind of got that NASA punk sort of look. And if you sort of look through like pictures of NASA vehicles and things, in fact, there was a Martian rover. I think I sent you the picture ages ago, Simon. That NASA actually did a concept of a vehicle that was going to go on Mars or something, and it was like this big buggy. It looks just like the Sagittor. It's almost identical. So that's kind of where they've robbed their aesthetics from, and I think it's a really cool sort of look for them. They've gone away from the biker type of aesthetic that the Scots used to have. The only gripe I have got is that they're a bit thin on the beard front, and I think dwarfs should have beards because that's what dwarfs are all about.
They should all have beards. Let's be honest here.
They should have
even the ladies.
Yeah, especially the ladies.
Even the lady dwarfs. Yep, I mean, you can't tell them apart. It's the beards. I could be a female dwarf. Look, you'd never know.
No comment.
I've never watched it.
I don't want to find
Sean
out.
could be. He's got a beard.
The Styles lady.
So on the tabletop, I think they play out very well. They've got obviously they're quite new. They've got about a dozen units so far. Each unit, I think, because they're quite new and they have a lack of variety, I think they have to be welded quite well. And each unit does have a specific function. We're going to do a little bit of a unit gloss over. I think we're not going to go too much into detail, but we will touch on things. So you've got like their special rule is that they give out judgment tokens, which is exactly what they did in the last edition. Slightly different now. You dish out one judgment token, it's +1 to hit. Second judgment token, it's +1 to wound. Fairly simple. They can start the game by, if you're doing 2K battle, selecting 4 units that are automatically double judged. If you kill one of those units, depending on the turn you kill it, you get a bonus number of CP, which I think if you sort of, the way I tend to play it is I will pick 1 or 2 very powerful units. So that way, if I need to kill them quickly, I've got the bonus. And I'll pick a couple of bad not bad units, but chaff that's quite easy to chew through. So that way I've got a chance of getting the bonus CP, because that does come in very much useful.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can dish out a token with one of your wall. Anyone can, any character for your warlord now, but the Carl. So he can dish out one in your command phase. The only stipulation is that he has to have line of sight. There's no range on it. You just got to be able to see it. And if you kill a unit as well, you get a judgment token. I think the judgment tokens as well, they also unlock some synergy with the stratagem. So some of them wouldn't work as well unless you've got a judgment token.
Yeah.
If we start with the
play them.
Sorry?
Or at all in the way that you play them.
Well, we found out just before that I was playing my rules completely wrong. I was playing it the worst way, and Sean said, "No, you're completely wrong." And Sean's way was actually right, and it was better.
Well, there we go. Well done. We support each other here on the channel.
Well done, Sean. Well, he didn't tell me when I was playing him the other day, did he?
From there.
Waited till after.
Of course he would.
So we'll start with some of the units. I think we can probably go over most of them because they don't have many units. So we start with the Carl. They've got they've all got a movement of 5 because they're dwarfs. They've got stubby little legs. They don't move faster than 5. They've all got high toughness of 5 as well, which is fairly good on the tabletop, I think. The only thing, they've got an armor save of 4 up, most of them across the board, which isn't quite so good. It's all right. There's ways of negating that with stratagems. Mostly they've got 1 wound, so they're not very high wound like your Space Marines. But that's where the higher toughness comes into play. So the Carl's got 4 wounds. He's got a leadership of 7. He's got a 3-up save and an OC of 1. He can be equipped with a Autok, I think that's how you pronounce it, combi bolter, which is basically a storm bolter. 24-inch range, 4 shots, hits on 2, strength 4, no AP and 1 damage. Oh, he's got the Volkite Disintegrator, which is, I think, slightly better. Death wounds, 3 shots, less range. Obviously, you're rolling your 6s to wound. You're getting your death wounds there, which you can't save against. Melee weapons, he's got a choice of a 4-drop Plasma Axe, which is 4 attacks. Hitting on 2, strength 5, -2 damage. And the Mass Gauntlet, 3 attacks. Hitting on 3, strength 8, -2. 3 damage, so slightly better. His special ability is that he can dish out the judgment token, and he gives lethal hits to the unit he's attached with, which is back to that old auto wounding mechanics that everybody hated, but it's only on 6s this time. Yes. And it's only if he's attached to the unit. And he can also be equipped with a Rampart Crest, which is giving the unit a 5-up invuln, or he can have a Teleport Crest, which gives the unit Deep Strike, both of which have their uses. So that's a Carl. He's a fairly good unit. I'm tending to run 3 of those at the minute because it's about maximising those judgment tokens, which is where the strength comes in.
Interesting.
Because as we've sort of seen in the games that we have played against Votann, I think their strength lies in that low damage massed fire, forcing your opponent to make more armor saves. In my opinion, the more saves that the opponent's going to make, the more they're going to fail. Also, the more saves the more rolls I'm going to miss.
So is that because they're going to die? So you're taking
what
3
do you mean?
to keep them going? Because I'm looking at a data sheet.
No, I'm taking 3 because they can dish out. That gives me in the command phase. I can then dish out 3 command tokens, 3 judgment tokens.
You could take 2 in Uthar the Destined.
I'm just gonna point something out as well. I'm looking at the I'm looking at the app, and I'm just going to read.
Oh,
it says 1 model with its ability.
So taking 3 means that if you're chucking your Carls forward, okay, but basically you still can only dish out one grudge token per.
So it bloody does
per round. But then obviously that, I suppose, taking 3 would mean that you would be able to dish them out for the whole game because you wouldn't lose all of them, would you?
But it also gives things like lethal hits to the unit.
Yeah.
It gives the invuln as well to the unit.
And they've got some good.
The lethal hits, I think, is pretty good.
And good output as well.
Yeah, lethal hits is pretty good. And or I could give a deep strike to a unit as well, which with an army that has limited movement as well. I know it's only an inch. They're sort of moving less than most other armies, but that does make a difference.
Yeah.
And they don't have a lot in the way of assault as well. So I think the only thing with assault is the bikes, which we'll come to in a little bit. But the bikes, you can't then advance and shoot, so you kind of sacrificing to get onto an objective, sacrificing that unit shooting.
Yeah. And not be funny.
So the deep strike does come in handy.
And I'm just looking. Not be funny. 70 points for a decent character, which gives you those sorts of bonuses. So I think it's a fair deal. I think it's a good price.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And so next, I'm going to cover the Brockier Ironmaster, which is like your engineer. He's a bit of a weird one, this guy, because he comes with his own retinue. So there's actually 5 models in that unit. Comes with his own Ironkin. The Ironkin are the robots at the Votann build, which is obviously heretical against the Imperium, because Imperium outlawed all of AI, and that's basically what they are. And his AI isn't artificial intelligence, it's abominable intelligence. But the Votann 2 fingers up to the Imperium and build them anyway. So the Brockier Ironmaster, again, 5-inch move, toughness 5. He's only got a 4+ save, 4 wounds. All the characters, I think, except the champion, have 4 wounds. Obsec of 1, leadership of 7. However, because you've got 3 of the ECOGs and 1 Ironkin assistant, that unit has an Obsec of 5.
Nice.
And is generally attached to something anyway. The robots are not quite as good. The Ironkin assistant is movement of 5, toughness 5, 4 save, 2 wounds, leadership of 7, and an Obsec of 1. And the ECOGs are movement of 5, toughness 5, 4 save, 1 wound, leadership of 7, and an Obsec of 1. I think where the Brockier Ironmaster comes in is fairly good shooting with his Graviton rifle, anti-vehicle 2+, 3 shots, strength 5, -1, 3 damage, which is slightly better than the Brockier Thunderkin's grav weapons, because I think they're 2 damage and it's -2 AP on their weapons. The robots have got a assortment of weapons. So the one of them's got a bolt pistol, which never does much, but it's 1 attack, hitting on 3s, strength 4, 1 damage, and then the other's got a las beam cutter, which is short range at 6 inches. I mean, it's hitting on 4, strength 6, -3 AP, because I think AP is where it's at this edition as well.
Interesting.
AP is and -3 is quite rare nowadays in sort of infantry weapons. Melee weapons, they've got again close combat weapons, which is just hitting on 4, strength 3. The Graviton hammer, yeah, that's fairly good. It's anti-vehicle, 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. But again, if you're judged, he's hitting on 3s. Strength 9, -1, 3 damage. And then one of them's got a manipulator arm, which is 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. And then another one's a plasma torch, 1 attack, hitting on 4s, strength 6, -3, 2 damage. So they've got a variation. They're not too bad because they can soak up wounds for the Brockier, the actual Ironmaster himself. So what they do, the special rule on them is he adds 1 to the hit roll of a unit that he's leading, which comes in handy. But if most things are judged anyway, you're still getting that +1 to hit. He can heal up a vehicle within 6 inches. So it's D3 wounds. If he's still got the Ironkin assistant, it's just a flat 3. You don't need to roll. It's just an automatic 3.
So basically, he's going to sit next to your big honky tonk.
Yeah,
just on the off chance.
Oh, he can heal up. He can heal up the. I think he can heal up the Thunderkin as well. The exosuits. Yeah, he can. He can heal up exo frames.
Yeah, he can. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So I normally run him in a unit of them as well because he's giving them +1 to hit.
Nice.
So he's fairly good to run in those. Next, we've got the we'll do the Grimnir. The Grimnir, I think he's fairly good. I've got a lot of use out of him. However, I think everything else is better in terms of the other characters.
I'm going to just interject and say he's an absolutely awesome model.
You reckon he's awesome? Oh, the model's awesome.
The model is so good.
Yeah, it's the best model in the range. Absolutely the best character model.
Climbing up those stones that he's lifting is just awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love that model. I mean, what he does, he's not got a great output. Again, you're attaching him to a unit, fairly standard. So movement of 5, toughness 5, 4 wounds, save of 4, leadership 6, and an obsec of 1. He is accompanied by 2 Corv robots, which have each got a bolter. Their movement of 5, toughness 5, save of 4, 1 wound, leadership of 6, and obsec of 1. The little robots are equipped with a bolt gun, which is 2 shots, hitting on 4, strength 4, 1 damage. But then he's got a psychic attack as well, which is called Ancestral Wrath Witchfire.
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 attacks, 24-inch range, hit on 2, strength 6, -2, D3 damage, or if you overcook it and make it hazardous, it goes to 6 attacks. So still all the same for 6 attacks. Melee weapons, he's equipped with an Ancestral Ward Stave, which is only 1 attack, hitting on 3, strength 7, -1, D3. Now his special abilities, he has Fortify, which gives the unit +1 toughness, and that's where I think he comes in, because suddenly he's sitting. You've got a unit of 10 Hearthkin, the regular troops, the Hearthguard warriors, sitting on an objective at toughness 6.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite good.
Yeah.
And also he can, once per battle, he has a special ability that he can make them automatically pass a battle shock test.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, sorry. The wording is after it fails a battle shock test, it can use his ability. If it does, it's no longer battle shock.
Okay.
So they would fail it, but then he can say, right, you're no longer battle shock.
That's
once
good.
per battle. Which again is, I think, in a way that makes him better for sitting on an objective.
Yeah.
You know, you got a toughness 6, and then suddenly you fail your battle shock. No, I'm still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, to be fair, your Hearthkin warriors give sticky objectives anyway, so you don't really need them to sit on the objective. But as a toughness,
No, you're right. But
I'm just going to wander around, and you've just got to put in significant amounts to take me off. And if you do, then, or if you do take off enough to battle shock me, actually, no, I'm not battle shocked to that objective that would be sticky. That I would not have. I then get it, and it's sticky then on top of it. Would be a fairly potent. That's something that someone's going to have to deal with fairly quickly. Otherwise, you're just going to make things sticky.
Yeah.
And not.
I've only been running that in the last couple of games, really. I tend to put them in my honky tonk or the hecatonk. We use their proper names. But when they come out, they've got a special rule as well from the hecatonk that allows them to re-roll wound rolls. I think it's re-roll or +1. But you have them coming out, and then you've got suddenly a hecatonk and a unit of 10 dwarfs. Well, it'd be the 10 in the warrior unit and the 3 with the character as well, and they're all toughness 6. That's quite a big shift. That's what 10, 12, 16 wounds you'd have to shift at toughness 6.
Yeah.
It's quite a headache.
That's almost like running units of 10 Space Marines in Gravis armor.
Almost.
That's that.
I don't know anyone who does
exactly. How awful.
Sounds fiendish. Sorry, guys. I'm still getting over this illness, and I can actually feel my voice going. We'll try and get through it.
That's all right. Let's talk. We'll pick the key. We don't need to do all the units, do we?
No, well, we're going to cover some of them.
Yeah.
If anyone else wants to take over the talking, if you've got there, because I can feel my voice going.
I'll run through your Hearthkin warriors, Hearthkin, whatever you want to call them. They're your basic.
Go on then.
4
up save, no invuln, unless you obviously put them with the guy that gives them the 5 up. But range of guns, there's loads of different ones that are pretty standard.
I do think they're the best unit I've got, or they're underrated, because a lot of people saying on the forums I'm in, they're saying, oh no, the warriors are shit now. I think I'm getting a lot of mileage out of them, and I think you would agree as well, Simon. They're one of the best units that Votann have got because of the sheer volume of fire again that they can put out.
Yeah,
you can put out a decent amount of volume, yeah.
And with the plus,
and there are enhancements that you can give them as well. You can give them a comms array, which gives them ignore cover. You can give them the comms array. That's the scanner that gives that. The comms array, if you spend a stratagem on a 5 up, you get a CP back, and the med pack gives you a 6 up, feel no pain.
Ignore cover is massive depending on what your army you're going against. If you were going against, for example, Simon's Grey Knights on the 2 up save, having ignores cover and when you're using -1 is significant.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah,
I definitely.
I would say in playing against them, is it definitely as far as a basic unit, as far as sort of your base main unit.
Yeah,
I
they are the
but
mainline unit. I generally run 4 of those.
yeah, I think you disregard them at your own peril, because I think that multiple times I have, especially with the +1 to hit and +1 to wound, even when you're putting
Yeah,
something like the Great Unclean One in, for example, what we've seen is that with that
yeah,
+1 to
yeah,
wound, with the amount of output they're doing, even when you start saying, right, okay, a third of them are going through because you're wounding on 5s, well, suddenly then its save is a 4 up, and actually a lot of those are going through. And when you start then saying that they've got that output, and then they've got the all of them have got mixed in the special weapons like the Magna Rail and all that sort of stuff, which can threaten. I'm always a big fan of basic units being able to take a
See,
big gun
that's
which can
interesting because
threaten something.
Yeah.
I don't run the Magna Rail anymore. I
Well,
think it's shit.
not mag. Well,
It's heavy.
which one do you take?
I generally run a rocket launcher and the beamer,
That's it. Yeah.
unless I
Rocket launcher was what you
put them
said.
in the Sagittor. But yeah, the rocket launcher. I mean, that's basically your standard missile, isn't it? You got the frag
Yeah.
option, which is strength 4, blast D6, or the other one, which is like strength 9. Is it?
Yeah, crack option.
Yeah.
9-2.
-3. Is it -3 or
-2?
-2?
Minus.
-2. D6 damage. But that's again, if you're +1 to wound, that's quite
Well,
naughty.
that's the thing, isn't it? Is when you're +1 to wound and that sort of stuff. And so to me, like I said, literally, I've done it where I've sort of put myself up and get bounced off something, and then I'm stood there in front of 2 of the units of that, which can melt something. So I've definitely learned that
Yeah,
it's not a unit where you go, oh, it's only a basic unit, it won't really do much damage. Well, actually, do you know what? I
yeah,
think it can do
yeah.
a fair bit of damage for them.
Yeah. And also,
I mean, sorry, go on, Sean.
I was gonna say, and also, as we said, like sticky objectives is always a nice ability to have.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Pretty
think
handy.
most troops get that in the game now, don't they?
No,
In most armies, they get
specific.
objectives.
No, there are a few, but I think it
Yeah,
gives you options. And if you want to sit on a objective to make sure you control it, fine, you can do that. And even if then your unit's gone, someone still has to come and take that objective. Or if you want to have a roaming unit going, right, make this sticky, someone's got to take that. By that point, you could, if you select 2 of those no man land objectives that you want to hold, then you can get there quite quickly. You can, you're making them sticky. You're making then your opponent have choices, and choices are never good when you're having to make them against someone.
yeah, absolutely. So they have got 2 options, haven't they? Of their standard weaponry. I mean, you can equip 2 with a heavy weapon. The standard one, you've got a bolter, which is your 2 shots, 24-inch range, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. That's generally what I run because, again, my play style with Votann is all about that volume of fire. They might not have AP, but if I'm putting 20 shots in, you're going to fail some of them. Like it or not, I might only do 2 or 3 wounds, but it's about blinking off that damage, isn't it? I mean, we have seen, to be honest, those Hurtkin warriors take down things like tanks or the greater demons when you're rolling hot, or even average, really, with that +1 to wound. That's kind of what I go for, is death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, fair enough.
The other option they can take is the Iron Beamer or Iron Blaster, which is only 18 inches in range, 1 shot. Again, hitting on 4s, but that's strength 5, -2 AP, 1 damage. I sometimes run a squad with those just on the back line. So if anything is going to deep strike, where you've got 10 shots of them, well, it'd be 8 because there'd be 2 heavy weapons in there anyway coming at you. The special weapons they can take. The Magna Rail, I'm not really a fan of anymore. It used to be really good because it ignored invuns, which I guess it still does on devastating wounds. But they've changed it now. So instead of hitting on 4s, I think it used to be 3s, I think, on the old one. But it's now hitting on 5s. I know you get your +1 and it's heavy, so if you stay still. But for a weapon that's so strong, I mean, it's strength 12 -3. It's 50%. You're only going to be hitting 50% of your shots. So for half the game in mathematics, it's not going to be doing what it should be doing. I'd rather go for something that has more of a chance. The missile launcher, I'll always take one of them in a unit. You've got the rotary cannon. Never run that because I don't have the model. The only way that's available, that model, is in the Kill Team box set.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's the only way it's available unless you do a conversion. But I can't be bothered because again, it's hitting on 5s. Sustained hits 1, 6 attacks, hitting on 5s, strength 6, -1 damage.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's massively great. You got the plasma beamer, which I think is pretty good because you need a little bit of anti-tank. Sustained hits D3. It's only 1 shot, but if you roll a 6, you're getting D3 extra shots. Strength 8, -3, 2 damage. They're all equipped with bolt pistols. You can actually equip, instead of heavy weapons, you can equip 2 with the kin melee weapons. So they become slightly more melee, which I have considered doing if I was splitting them into a Sagittor, so I could have, led by Carl, the leader has a close combat weapon, which is 2 attacks, hit on 4, strength 5, -2, 2 damage, and another 2. You've got a 5-man or 6-man close combat specialist.
Okay, interesting.
I've toyed with the idea of doing that, and then you'd have a unit of 5 on the board that just has bolt guns. But that's something I might experiment on because I thought they might be a cheap way of clearing objectives. But then you're only looking at be 6 attacks because it's only 2 attacks anyway. Because their strong suit Votann is not melee, not at all. That is one of their biggest weaknesses. But yeah, so definitely don't underrate the Hearthkin Warriors.
No,
is what we're saying. I'm going to talk about my favourite unit now, which is the Einir Champion. The Champion is an absolute wrecking ball. He's again movement of 5. He's basically a Terminator, isn't he? Movement toughness of 6, 2 up save, 5 wounds, leadership of 7, and obsec of 1. He's got a combi bolter, which is just your standard bolt of 4 shots, hit on 2, strength 4, no AP and 1 damage. And this is where he comes in. He's got a Dark Star Axe, or he can be equipped with either of these, which is strength 6, hitting on 2s. 6 attacks, hit on 2, strength 6, -2, 2 damage, which is not to be sniffed at. But it's the mass hammer where it's at, I think. 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, but then that goes to 2s if you've got a judgment token. Strength 12, -2, and D6 +1 damage, which is beastly. You're putting that into a tank or a knight or something, and I guess you're going to do an average of 9 wounds if you average it out.
Nice.
Which is it's definitely better than the axe. But the axe you could take, and that's got its uses as well for
anti-infantry and
clearing infantry.
Infantry sort of stuff.
Yeah. So he can be attached to the Einir Hearthguard. Which is where you want him basically. His special rule is while he's leading a unit, the unit can reroll charge rolls.
Nice.
And his other rule, which I really like, is when you finish a charge move, you roll a dice. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, the unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, the unit suffers D3 +3 mortal wounds. So he's quite beastly on the charge as well.
Yeah. No one's ever going to, if you're aiming to charge him and not have anyone. My plan whenever I see him on the table when you're playing him is I'm going to charge him. He's not going to charge me because of those additional mortal wounds. Yeah.
But now I have 2.
Then means I will charge both of them.
That's all right. I've got other stuff. But he can be equipped with a teleport crest, which gives the unit deep strike, or a weave field crest, which is interesting because the Terminator dwarfs, we call them Terminator dwarfs, that's what they are. They don't have an invuln, and only he would have an invuln in that unit, so you could give him a 4. So I think the deep strike is more valuable. For a unit that only moves 5 inches and they can reroll charges, having them deep striking, I think, is a bit more valuable.
Yeah. I mean, not be funny because you've got such low movement. Having anything which is deep striking like that, I think, is really, really useful, isn't it? To position things where you.
So he's my favourite unit, and if you put some of the enhancements on him as well, I think he really comes into his own. Which also brings me nicely to the next unit, which is the Hearthguard or Hearthguard. I keep calling it Hearthguard.
Mm-hmm.
So again, they're dwarf Terminators, almost the same as the Champion. Movement of 5, toughness 6. Save of 2 up, 2 wounds each, leadership of 7 and obsec of 1. They can be equipped with a plasma gun, which is 1 attack, strength 3. 1 attack, hit on 3, strength 8, -3, 2 damage. But remember, obviously, all this is +1 to hit and +1 wound if you're going into a judged unit, which is generally where you want anything to be going. It's the 2 damage is nice, but again, it's the Volkite disintegrator where you want it for the death wounds. 3 attacks, a unit of 5. You're putting out 15 shots. You're going to roll a few 6s and chip away those wounds with the mortal wounds, or devastating. It's not mortal wounds now, is it? It's devastating wounds, and they changed how that works. But still, you can't save against them, so it doesn't even work on invulns. It's only strength 3 attacks in on 3, strength 5, no AP, but it is the mortal wounds. Sorry, devastating wounds where you want it. But also, each model is equipped with a grenade launcher. So again, that's 5d6 shots, hitting on 3, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you're putting out a lot of shots for that. The melee weapons, concussion gauntlet, generally what I would run, strength 2, 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. Strength 9, -2, 2 damage. So you'd have 10 attacks across the unit there. The sergeant can be equipped with a concussion hammer, 3 attacks, hitting on 4s. Strength 9, -1, 3 damage. So slightly better than the fist, or plasma blade gauntlet, which has more attacks but lower strength. Hitting on 3s, 3 attacks, strength 6, -2, 1 damage. They've got a very interesting special rule. While they're led by a character, which of course they would be, they're going to be, if the strength is more than the unit's toughness, then they're -1 to wound.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll never be wounding them on anything less than a 3. It's almost like baby transhuman in a way, because that -1, even if it's a really high toughness, strength, you're going to get that -1 to wound.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I
Again,
think it makes things a lot more survivable.
Yeah. So you're always going to, no matter what, you're always wound them on a 3+.
Yeah.
They can be given a teleport crest, so they've got deep strike, or you can give them a refilled crest, which is only on the sergeant. So it'd only be the sergeant that would have a 4+ invuln, not the rest of the unit. That's the way I interpret that, because it says refilled crest, the bearer has a 4+ invuln save. It doesn't say the unit.
No, yeah,
Then it would.
Yeah, so it's only the bearer, which I kind of think is a bit silly. Why? I just won't take it. I'll just take the teleport crest instead. Thank you.
Yeah,
but those Terminators they've given a lot of headaches as well, haven't they? Because they're quite tough to shift. We found.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I think so. They bring a lot to the table and make it very difficult to. They've got a lot of output, haven't they?
They have.
Once again, a lot of.
Does anyone want to take another one? I just need to get a drink a minute. Sorry, guys.
Well, should we have a look at? You mentioned enhancements, so we'll have a quick look. Just got the.
So there's a couple of units I would like to cover as well.
Okay.
The Sagittor and the Hecatonk, because I think they're worth a talk.
Okay. My personal favourite unit that you've got is actually the Hearthkin Pioneers, and I'll quickly.
So we'll
the reason.
You want to do that? I've got to get a drink. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Quickly, the
heaven forbid.
The reason that they're my favourite is it's a 12-inch movement with a 9-inch scout move.
Damn right.
For an army that's got 5-inch movement.
Damn right. And with the
21-inch strike ranges.
Yeah.
Pretty rich.
Yeah, and with the output they give as well.
And then the output on top of it just is a little bit of bonus. And then their ability that if they're within 6 inches of a table edge at the end of, is it the opponent's? End of the opponent's turn, you can pick them up and then put them into strat reserve.
Yeah.
Which again just makes them infinitely more movable. But I think in any army like that's got a 5-inch movement, having 12 inches of movement and a 9-inch scout move gives you the opportunity with a couple of units of those to contest objectives early, whilst you set the rest of your army in place. And you can go, right, I want these 2 now, you've got to come and take them off me. But by that point, you're going to show your army, in which case I can then start judging and shooting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're probably one of the key units for the army. Their output's ridiculous with the rotary cannons, the ion beamers and everything like that.
Yeah.
Low AP, low damage, but lots of shots. No melee weapons, but that's fine. You're only going to use them, and they're big bases.
Yeah.
So if you do want to hold up something, then they're a good you know, a toughness 6 3-wound model that you can go, right, that's my move block.
Yeah. 3 of those for 90 points, job done.
Yeah. That's a move block that then, if they haven't charged them, you go, well, now it's done its job and 1 survived. I'm going to take it off the board because it's within 6 inches of the table edge, and then put it back down again somewhere else.
Yeah. I think they're very, very deadly for.
Sorry, with the cough suite as well. That'll help.
No, I think they're very.
I need a bit of education.
I think they're very deadly for what they do and for the costs. And I agree with you that,
You're
you know, in lots of times movement is king, especially in where you need to do actions, etc. And so
Yeah.
to me, I definitely, if I was playing them, I would not be leaving home without a fair few.
Yeah, I've got 3 units of those bikes, and I'll always bring 3, I think, because I don't know if you noticed when I played you with Nurgle, I actually used them to do a very clever feint. I switched side of the board. I had 2 on one side and 1 on the other, I think, and then you went onto that objective, and I wanted you to take it because I wanted your units over there, away from the bulk, and then I just take them off that turn. Over I go here to hold over here, and that's generally one of the ploys I like to use with them. Letting into my tips and tricks here.
Ooh. But yes, I would just.
I think they're a very good unit as well. I mean, they're not to be sniffed at. Have you covered their stats or anything?
We've done it all. I think we've established how good they are.
The only thing I will say is I don't like the searchlight anymore. I used to take that all the time because it used to have a stratagem that for 1 CP I could dish out a judgment token. But now it just basically adds 1 to the hit roll if the unit's got stealth, and that's 2 situations.
Absolutely.
It's not going to come up often to warrant taking. No. So I will always, because you can only take 2 of the enhancements, I will always take a comms for the CP reroll if I use it, and the ignores cover ability. The other one, it's 2 situational.
No, absolutely, I think it's great.
You can play, you can play a tournament, 3 matches or whatever it is, and never have that come up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100% ignores cover. If I could only take 1, I'd only ever take ignores cover.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't care.
Absolutely.
I don't particularly care about comms array that much because I don't think any of the stratagems I'd be using that much on them. No. I'd be taking a scanner every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right, you wanted to talk about a saggy tour.
A saggy toe. Yeah, I really rate these. I've only got 2 of them because I'm really struggling to buy any more. They're like rarer than rocking horse shit.
That's because they're good and everyone wants them.
They are good. They're very good. So these are the main transport for Votann. Movement of 12, toughness 10, 3 up save, 9 wounds.
And again, like the bikes, like we just said, in my opinion, the key point of this is a 6-inch scout move as well.
Yep.
18-inch threat range that can then disembark a unit that can still shoot.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely.
Well, they got that special rule, haven't they? I mean, it's got some really good weapons it can be equipped with, as well as having great firepower. It can disembark. It's got the blister and advanced special rule, so units can disembark from this transport after it is advanced. Units that do so count as having made a normal move for that phase and cannot declare a charge in the same turn. So you can advance and still get out.
Yeah. And
so I can even get out and do an action.
Yeah.
I don't need to. The only stipulation there is you can't charge in the same turn. But everything else is just like that's great.
A 24-inch range, which is 19 inches more than the rest of your army. Yep, I'll have 1 of those, or 2 of those, or 3 of those.
Absolutely.
I mean, the weapons aren't to be sniffed at all. High-las beam cannon, sustained hits D3, 2 attacks, but it's that D3, isn't it? You roll a 6 and suddenly it spikes. Strength 12, -3 D6. Pretty good. Yep. I normally equip them with a rocket launcher because the rocket launcher, it actually comes with 2 different types of rocket launcher as standard. So although it's got the L7, which is 2 different, you select one which you fire, which is your standard blast or your sort of heavier one shot. Right. It also comes equipped with a Sagittal missile, which is 2 shots, hitting on 4, strength 12, -3 damage. So it gets both of those, and you can fire. You select one for the L7 missile launcher, and I can still fire the Sagittal missile as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Mater auto cannon, which it's all right, but I wouldn't be taking it when I've got the other stuff. And it also comes with the twin bolt cannons, which is fantastic. The twin bolt cannons. Three attacks, sustained hits 1, hitting on 4s, strength 6, -1, 2 damage, twin link, so I can re-roll the wound roll. And when it's +1 to wound, if I'm going into something judged, brilliant.
Nice.
Yep.
There's the other thing it can do with this as well, which is really interesting. You basically can combat squad the troops. So it's got a transport capacity of 6. So it says at the start of the battle, declare formations. You can select 1 unit of Hearthkin warriors and split them into 2 to combat squad them. And this means generally what I do, I split it into 2 and I put a good unit and a not so good unit of the warriors, one of which will have a heavy weapon, a Carl, so that's your leader leading it, the sergeant, and then it'll have like a med pack and a comms array and all the other jazz. And the other one will just have bolters with a high-las assault rifle, because it can advance and still shoot you 3 shots. It's not much, but the high-las is something like strength 6 -1 damage. Again, if I've got little movement and I'm still able to put out 3 shots, having very little in the way of assault anyway for the army, I'm going to take it. So that's where they come in. And also, it's MSU, isn't it? Multiple small units.
MSU, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the only way I can take a unit of 5 of the troops. But again, it's great that you can split them up and have more board control that way.
Interesting.
I would always go for MSU, but that's a really clever little rule, I think, for using them. So I really rate the Sagittars. I'd definitely have. I would take. I think the maximum is 6. If I could, I'd take 6.
Yeah, they're hard.
They come in transports, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'd come under transports.
and they're hard to chew through, aren't they? That's the thing. They got once again good firepower for just a transport.
Yes.
Yeah, and they explode as well. I mean, it's only Deadly Demise 1, so it's only going to do 1 mortal wound, but it's nice if you can just have a little last fuck you.
Absolutely. And then let's do a final one on the honky tonk, hecatonk, because we're hitting an hour.
Honky tonk.
Of course we are. We've still got the enhancements and stratagems to talk about yet, and I'm losing my voice. I might not have nothing left.
Well, let's run through it quickly then.
Right, the
Hecatonk Land Fortress.
well, this is a Land Raider, isn't it, basically?
Yeah,
It's a dwarf Land Raider that's bigger than a Land Raider.
Yeah.
Great model. It kind of looks like what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles used to drive around in. But it's still great. So it's got a movement of 10, a bit slower than the Sagittars. Toughness 12, 2 up save, 16 wounds, a leadership of 7, and obsec of 5. So it's almost identical to the Land Raider in terms of stats. It's got a special rule of fire support. So in the shooting phase, after this model is shot, select 1 enemy unit. It scored a hit, 1 or more hits against this phase. Until the end of the phase, each friendly model that disembarked from that transport unit that turn can re-roll the wound roll. So, you know, I'm going into an objective, something's getting out, I'm shooting something, it can re-roll the wound roll then. Generally, what I'm having in my hecatonk, I only have 1, but that would be my unit of 10 warriors with the Psyker. So their toughness 6. The Psyker can then re-roll his wound roll. So you've got rocket launchers and all sorts.
The Exo ones?
No, not the Exo ones, just the warriors.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Troops. Because it's got a transport capacity of what is his transport capacity? 12.
Infantry models. Each Exo one takes up 2. Each Exo frame takes up 3.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is good. There's, you know, obviously you've got your absolute plethora of shooting options, your ridiculous strength 18. I don't know if I'd ever take the strength 18 personally.
I don't take it. I used to take it all the time because it was really good. It was not only good at killing big stuff, but because of the special rule it used to have, and the mortal wounds carried over. It weren't even mortal wounds; it just carried over, didn't it? It was
no, and that spread, and then when devastating wounds was mortal wounds, it would then carry over. You can
that's right.
that,
but now it's just I think it's dev wounds, isn't it?
Yeah, it is dev wounds for 1 shot. And the fact that you're probably, if you're whacking that into anything that you're getting +1 to hit and wound on, I don't see the point in strength 18 when you can have more shots. Personally,
I know it's D6 + 6, that's 12 wounds potentially, but it's also 7 wounds potentially.
Yeah, after it hits and wounds and does it.
I generally take the iron cannon. That is called a cyclic iron cannon because that's blast, and again it's how my play style is. 1,000 cuts, D6 + 3, So that's a maximum of 9, minimum of 4. Hitting on 4s, +1 if you're judged. So it's hitting on 3s. Strength 9, which isn't to be sniffed at, but especially when you've got that +1 to wound.
Yep.
Makes all the difference. So I'd have to go into strength 18 to be hitting on 5s.
Yeah.
Even if it was judged.
Anything that's toughness 18.
Yeah. AP -2 and 2 damage. Again, 2 damage, and that's that 1,000 cuts. I have experimented with the other one, which is the it's the conversion beamer. Yeah, I experimented with that last time, which was okay. It wasn't bad. Conversion's an interesting rule. That if I'm over half range, then you get a critical hit on a 4+, a critical wound, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
unmodified successful hit roll of a 4+ score.
But the trouble with that is it doesn't play in with my play style, because I like to have that in no man's land in the middle objective or something. So if it's sitting there, it's not going to get the conversion rule.
No, but if you were to just put it over 12 inches, then you get D3 on a 4+. Because it'll be sustained hits D3 on a 4+, which is
then I also like it as the delivery option. So because it's delivered and then it sits where on an objective, come on, move me. I'm toughness 12, 16 wounds. Shoot me off.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm losing that because I'm losing I know it's minor, but I'm losing that bonus. So I generally go for the Iron Blaster at the minute.
Yeah.
Again, it's got 2 lots of twin bolt cannons. So that's your sustained hits 1. So that's a total of 6 shots because it's got 2 of those. Sustained hits 1, twin linked. I can re-roll the wound roll, and it's also got the Mater. I think that's how you'd say it. Mater auto cannon.
Matter.
The Matter auto cannon. Yeah, strength 6 shots, hitting on 4s. It doesn't matter what it's called.
It doesn't matter.
-1, 2 damage. So yeah, so it can also be equipped with the 1-shot warhead or ignores cover. So it can
it's free, so you take it.
Well, I can only give it one or the other.
Oh, right. Yeah. D6 out of line of sight shooting is a good threat, or D6 +3 out of line of sight shooting is a good threat.
Or ignore cover.
Yeah, both good.
I normally go for the warhead, to be honest.
Yeah.
Both have their uses.
Mm.
Right, let's have a quick burn through the enhancements. Looking through them myself, I think there's 2 that I would take.
Yep.
There's 1 that you can give, make your opponent, if they're within range of an objective, an additional.
Yep, I always take that. I generally take
20 points for appraising glare. So pick an objective. If you've got an enemy unit that's within range of it, until your next command phase, they get 1 additional judgment token, or they counted as 1 additional judgment token. Ideal. Another way of getting more judgment tokens. And then your Wayfarer's Grace, which is you stand up on a 2+, you put that basically on your Ioneer champion.
Absolutely, every time without fail, because anything that, if you have something on an objective that can get back up again, I know he'd be the last man standing, but again, that's another problem that you might have to have something on that objective another turn that you've still got to get rid of.
Well, to be fair, I would do it to counter in, like I said, when you were talking about it, I would be aiming to charge him. Fine, I charge him and I kill him. Now he stands back up. Now it's your turn, because I've done it in my turn and I've made that charge. Oh, he's going to charge me. Say I've only got a couple of models left in my unit, and he's going to do, you get on a roll of a 6, you do D3 +3 mortals on top of it.
If you're taking 2 of them, would you put it on the axe guy or the hammer guy?
Hammer. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah, I would go on the hammer guy. It's hammer time.
I would put it on the hammer guy, because the hammers then you've got D3 +3 mortals, not devastating wounds, so mortals that will carry over to take out some extra models, then the hammer to do the big damage.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other 2, I don't think are that great. Transferring
its uses. However, we still got a bit of a debate about how this actually works. So you can re-roll battle shock tests for that unit, and I like to put this on the Iron Master with the Thunderkin, because I'm going to have 6 of them with the grav guns, D6 shots each. But then it also says here you can ignore any or all modifiers to their characteristics and or to any rolls or tests made for them. And we're still in disagreement whether it counts for their guns or not, because it's not.
It needs to be an FAQ by GW. I'm not having this argument.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's for anybody who doesn't know about it, basically, all three of us sat here now have models in our armies. I've got Grandmaster Grey Knights, Sean's got Trajan in the Custodes, and Adam's got this enhancement. And basically, what this does is that before now we've been playing this, that it basically ignores changes to the characteristics. So basically, -1s to hit, having damage, all these sorts of things they ignored. So that's what we've been playing it as. They've ignored those, and so it's made them very strong and a really good unit. The World Championships are taking place, and for that they've released sort of a guide to rules, and in there it specifically calls out Grey Knights, Trajan, and Grim Demeanor, Votann. So it does actually call out all of our armies on this, and their ruling for that event is that it affects the model characteristics, not the weapon characteristics. So therefore, if something changes your toughness,
your -1 to hit.
Yeah,
it's
so -1 to hit is something which, because now what's happened in 10th is that the ballistic skill actually now has gone on to the weapon characteristics rather than onto the model characteristics, meaning that they're saying that a -1 to hit actually is the weapon rather than the model. So therefore, we know according to that we should no longer ignore -1s to hit or damage changes to damage rolls and that sort of stuff.
What they need to do is FAQ their own FAQ.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Because
it's the organisers from the World Championship, but the issue is that they are the official World Championship going on. So you would hope that they would get the rules right. And
Well, the
GW
FAQ isn't actually in the community, is it? As such, it's not. It's only for the World Championship.
It is.
It's nothing.
And
for FAQ.
Yeah, but you would hope that they go, oh, do you know what? We've got a few of these rules to think about. Why don't we talk to GW themselves? And hopefully, if I went and said to them, "Can I talk about these rules?" Perhaps GW would be a bit busy to talk to me about it. But hopefully, the World Championships, they would at least put someone out there to say, "Hey, let's talk rules, shall we?"
You're not important enough to answer a question, no?
Yeah, exactly. So to me, I think I would assume that these are rules which will appear going forward.
Yeah, I think
I mean, it is. The one thing I would say is it's.
You could argue the weapon is part of the unit, isn't it?
Otherwise, it's just a floating hammer.
But at the same time, you could then turn around and say, for 20 points, your grim demeanor suddenly makes the 300, 400 point model, which halves all incoming damage, now useless.
Yep.
Yeah.
For 20 points.
Good.
Which
Yeah.
kind of, on the opposite side of things, would make you go, that's shitty.
Yeah, but on the
It is shitty, but again, it's situation. It doesn't happen.
Models,
does it?
Eldar, so they deserve.
Oh, exactly. They deserve it. Absolutely.
It
goes without question. I own Eldar, and they deserve it. But it's But I just think I think it may be very powerful. But I mean, But on small units, depending on who's got it and what unit they go with, then I mean that's the thing. If you only got maximum of 2 damage weapons being shot out at strength 4 or 5, then you're not going to. It's not the end of the world that you ignore -1 to hit or or half damage. You're not going to do that much,
Yeah.
So But anyway, but we'll see. We'll see what the official thing comes out. At the moment, we are actually playing our games now using the World Championship ruling. But I'll be interested to see what the ruling is when we get to
we are
get to January.
I always tend to take.
But I mean,
I might not be happy about it, but I'll always take the worst ruling for me rather than the opponent.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the fair way to play.
Absolutely, but like I said, we've got a tournament coming up in January. I'll be interested to see what the ruling for that is on these guys.
I was thinking of contacting him about that and seeing what he says.
Yeah, I think so. But have we got another FAQ and stuff before that? Would another FAQ come before?
I think we have. Yeah, have we?
Or is it in January?
There might be one after the World Championship. I don't know. I might be wrong.
Next week.
Okay, so it'd be interesting.
I'd imagine that.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to wait and see what comes out of that. But but yeah, so it's just interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So should we just quickly go over some of the stratagems?
Yeah, let's quickly run over the stratagems.
So they got Armor Contempt. That doesn't need explaining. Just produces AP by 1 coming in. Void Armor, it's called. Yeah. It's just. I think every army has something similar now, don't they? Armor Contempt.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's another one called Newfound Nemesis, which if the unit is reduced to half strength, you can give them a judgment token.
Yeah.
Or if it's got your warlord in it, you can give them 2 judgment tokens. That's 1 CP.
Another way of getting it. Reactive reprisal. This is the one that you like.
Yep.
It's getting sustained hits for 2 CP, so it's quite expensive.
No, you're thinking of ancestral sentence.
It can be vect. So if you've got a vect model, if you're facing a vect model, this can be made up to 3 CP. Hint, that's what I would do.
You're thinking of ancestral sentence. That's 1 CP.
No, I'm thinking of reactive reprisal. It's a battle tactic.
But reactive reprisal is the one where I can shoot you in your shooting phase.
Oh, is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is 2 CP. So if you shoot me, then I can shoot you back.
No, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong one. Yes, ancestral sentence is the one that I would which is a battle tactic. Sorry, which I would vect. Is where you can you're getting sustained hits on a unit, and if that unit's got 1 or more judgment tokens, you're getting sustained hits 2.
Yeah.
Which is pretty brutal when you've got the amount of shooting you've got. Then to whack sustained hits 2 as well. You're going to put it into a judged unit.
I've done it before where I've had like 10 hits and come out with 21 shots landed. So I've only rolled 10 successful. It's a bit of extreme, but you sort of end up with like more than what you actually started with.
Yeah, that's the one, especially when you out of your 9, when you've got 10 shots and you've got 15 wounds happening from them, you're like, oh, okay.
I had it go off on a rocket launcher once as well, because it doesn't say it's only bolt weapons or anything. You put in a strength 9 rocket in, and then you roll a 6. Oh look, 3 shots now.
Yeah. And then you've got ordered retreats, fall back in charge.
I use that a lot as well. I do use that a lot. Warrior Pride as well, which is one I have used because they're quite weak in melee. So it does help. What that is 1 CP for each judgment token. Let me just check that because I was wrong earlier. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a melee attack, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1 for each judgment token. So if you're double judged, suddenly your regular close combat attacks are at -2 AP.
Not bad. Can't go wrong with that as a little bonus. Yeah, they're not bad stratagems, to be fair. I'd say you've got some pretty good ones in there. Definitely some useful stratagems. Yeah,
definitely. So overall, what do you guys think of Votann, having both played against them and been on the receiving end?
Oh, I think they're very good. They're a mid-range.
Mid-range,
shooting army that's relatively high toughness, a decent amount of wounds because you're running 10-man units, and you're running out of a lot of them.
Yeah, especially now that they've had the points decrease. I think that's what they needed, because in the beginning in 10th they was quite not performing that well. They was a bit underperforming, and you can probably fit another 2 units of warriors in now. Excuse me, which is exactly what was needed. That kind of hit the sweet spot now to not make them too OP, because they still got weaknesses. We've said that all along. Generally, I find that it's kind of a one way of playing, so I will tend to go to the middle of the board and stay there, because that's that mid-range 1,000 cuts, right, come on, move me. And then just kind of rely on somebody taking me off of what I'm camped on, because they don't really have the movement that's like for example, Space Marines would have. Having not a lot of variety of units as well, I don't have the variety and depth that some other armies have got to pull a few shenanigans off. It's generally just move there right now. And that kind of fits into what dwarfs like typically in fantasy tropes are. They sort of plant their axes down and feet down and like move us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I do? And this has just come to me. I'm just listening to you go through the stratagems. One which I would do to go completely out of the norm, and you know what I'm like. I like to go completely out of the norm. How's this? This for a little opposite way of doing it? I'm going to take a Hecaton land fortress. I'm going to chuck in a unit of Chthonian berserkers. 10 Chthonian berserkers, right? I'm then going to arm them with melee weapons of concussion balls, 3 attacks at strength 9 -2/3 damage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drive the Hecaton up. I'm going to drop out the Hecaton's going to be there. They're going to jump out. They're going to charge something with 2 judgment tokens, and you can get out judgment tokens easy. And then I'm going to pop the strat that in the fight phase that they get +1 AP.
Yeah.
So strength 9 -3 damage, +1 to hit, +1 to wound.
No,
Hitting
because they get +1 AP for each grudge token it has. So they're going to be chucking out 30 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 9, -4, 3 damage. Plus, because they got out of the Hecaton Land Fortress, as the Hecaton Land Fortress shot at them, they're re-rolling all wounds.
I thought that was only against shooting, though, wasn't it?
No,
or was that against?
It just says when an attack
Oh.
is targeted. So that's going to be 30 attacks, re-rolling all wounds at strength 9, -4, 3 damage. With +1 to wound.
Yeah, I have
wounding anything that's less than toughness 9, which basically you're wounding anything that isn't a vehicle on 2s.
Also, chuck that into a knight. You've got 30 attacks, hitting on 3s. And
you're taking down a knight.
And you're wounding on 4s, re-rolling at -4, 3 damage, and the knights haven't got their invuln against melee.
Unless you're running into a lancer with a 4-up invuln, you're probably going to one-shot that knight, I would have thought. Or if you don't one-shot it, you're doing a hell of a lot of damage. They can't say -4. Re-rolling everything but wounding on 5s, well, wounding on 4s then, you've got a 50-50 chance of 15 of those going through, which is 45 wounds.
So,
with maths would state you're doing 45 wounds to a knight.
Well,
not if you're rolling.
You've got to do a 3+ to hit first, so you are going to drop. That's going to drop.
Yeah. So you drop that down, so you're looking at probably about 27 wounds.
I mean, because
is it hitting on 3? Is it hitting on 4s? Isn't it the hammer?
Yeah, but you get +1.
Yeah, so it goes to 3s if you're judged.
But also don't forget your Hecaton Land Fortress would have shot at it, so hopefully would have just taken a few wounds off it as well. They've got their mold grenade launchers, maybe plinked a few bits off. I think that combo is potentially a very good one. But it would rely on your Hecaton Land Fortress, because they would have to get out and charge. Your Hecaton Land Fortress would have to move up position, and then on the next turn, so it would have to survive a round of shooting first before it did that. But I don't know. I heard that and I just looked, and so I go, oh, there are actual little choices here where I think
there are. Yeah,
I would love to have a go.
Generally, for my anti-vehicle, a unit we didn't touch was the Brockir Thunderkin, the exosuits, and I'll take the grav units, and I'm running them in a unit of 6 with the little dwarf engineer, and that's anti-vehicle 2+. So you point that at a knight, for example. It doesn't matter about his toughness. You're wounded on 2s.
Yeah, but then a knight's got an invuln against that.
Yeah.
But
what is it? A 5-up invuln now? If knight's got?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's D6 shots.
Yeah.
On average, I math hammered it, and I'm putting out about an average of between 20 to 25 shots.
Yeah.
And wounded on 2s. That's really that's doing enough to kill a knight on math hammer.
Interesting to find out. Well, these are things we have to see and try out on a tabletop. And do you know what? I feel that a challenge has been made because we're releasing versus mode.
Cat hammer.
Because we've been releasing some versus mode of units versus units. I'm happy for Adam to put his money where his mouth is. I'm looking forward to Sean bringing a knight to a versus mode. Adam brings his Thunderkin, and I'm looking forward to seeing that play out.
Let's do it. Let's put a
let's do it. Let's do it.
I think that's job done.
Money where your mouth is, son.
And then I'd be very interested to see Chthonian Berserkers charging in, 10 of those charging in to see if that damage actually works out.
We know maths doesn't always play out, doesn't it? It can swing one way or the other.
They're called warped ones because most of those rolled be ones, so therefore you probably end up doing 2 damage out of the whole thing. So, but it's one of those things. But interesting, Adam. So definitely, I take it that you would recommend this force for anyone to play.
I wouldn't recommend them. I would recommend them. They're my personal favourites. I do think that obviously it's all down to personal choice, isn't it? But I really like the aesthetics for dwarves. For me, it's all about the lore and how they look. I know they play quite well on the tabletop, but even when they didn't, I was still playing them.
Absolutely.
I'm not a meta chaser. I play them because I love them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think all along, didn't we? Even when we first got into 40k again, later in life, back in 8th edition, we both said, but you didn't do it. But we both said if they bring out squats, we're gonna we're going to both get an army of squats if they re-release them, and I just got there first.
You did indeed, and I would say, just as someone who's played against them lots now, that actually it's always a fun battle against them. It's always
what would you say their weaknesses are, though? What do you think their weaknesses are? Because I think they've got some glaring weaknesses.
Well, movement at times, but then you have ways of getting around that. So, but obviously then
yes, you do. Yeah,
deep
the last invulnerable saves.
Yeah, armor save generally on the troops.
Yeah,
Four
and
up from the 3 up makes a big difference.
Land Fortress and stuff. I mean, if you've got ways to get past the 2 up save, if you've got big AP shooting big guns, then actually, you know, without the invuns on anything is actually makes it a bit more tricky for you to weather the storm.
Yeah, because it doesn't have an invuln yet.
Yeah.
So they have obviously got their weaknesses. I think that 1 inch move less than like Space Marines or any other sort of army, or 2 inches compared to Eldar, it does make a difference.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I know it's only an inch, but an inch makes all the difference, is what I'm told.
Well, over 5 turns, that's 5 inches, so you're losing a whole turn.
I'm making a comment. Adam's holding it together, and that's a wonderful place to finish. Yeah. So thank you very much, Adam, for that. Yeah, so obviously this has been a deep dive into Votann. If you've enjoyed it, then please let us know.
2 hours.
Yeah,
I have no voice left. So I couldn't even get through all the units because my foot.
We've just gone just over an hour and 10 hours or so, hour and 15. So, but so if you've liked it and enjoyed it, then let us know. If you're watching this on YouTube, then leave.
And also remember that the important thing is that, you know, our opinions don't matter. It's just our opinions. We're not professional.
Speak for yourself.
Probably, you know.
So, but what we are is people who love playing a game, and we've played a lot of it now. Over quite a few years. Actually, you know, we know, and also it's interesting to, you know, we're not someone like you said. We're not pushing the meta. We're not telling you get these units or do this because actually it's top of the meta, or you know you need to run 3 of this unit and 3 of that unit. We're saying actually this is good. This is a fun army to play. These are the advantages of this, and this is some of the things you might want to consider on a tabletop. I think is a fair enough thing for most people who just play their mates in a garage somewhere or whatever. You know, I think that's all we ever want, is a decent fun army to play which can do some things and play out a decent game on the tabletop is all we ever want. You know, and I think that's where we try and pitch it, isn't it, of that. And so if anyone's listening and agrees with that, like I said, just leave a comment of you know, what's your favorite unit in the Votann. You know, we got lots of Votann content because of Adam on the channel. If you're enjoying that, then let us know. And if you want to see any matchups of Votann against someone else, then let us know, because we've got most of the armies which you can play against. Like and subscribe, and you know, join us for more shenanigans. And if you like this sort of approach, this is our first ever sort of deep dive into a faction, doing it this way. So if you like this, then let us know. If you've got any suggestions on,
if you don't like it, let us know.
If you've got suggestions on how to improve, or you would like us to talk about, you know, things like more go into list building and things like that, then let us know, and we'll be happy to do that. And we'll go from there. But anything else you gentlemen want to say before we go?
No, I think we've covered everything.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. It's been a pleasure as always. We hope to see you on some more Warped Ones stuff in the future. Take care and goodbye.